one though. Okay, so finishing up section 1-4. Okay, we're on question, again, people at home, I'm taping right now, people at home, cross off questions 45 through 48. And we're on to number 49. Okay, so 1-4, number 49. So we have EK plus L equals D minus TK. And they ask you to solve that for K. Okay, solving it for K. You can solve for whatever you want, but they told you to solve it for K. That means get K by itself. Now, just so you guys understand, I love this type of question because it actually helps me, lets me talk about something from high school English that I actually remember. Okay, so what I mean is this, when I think English, we're talking about math here, okay? Well, it's an English concept here. If you're going to solve this for K, just watch for a second. After you write it down, just watch. Don't copy any more of this down, okay? If I want to get K by itself, okay, I could definitely subtract L to each side. Don't write this down. I can subtract L to each side, so we have EK equals D minus TK, minus L. And then to get K by itself, we divide by E. And divide by E, and you have K equals D minus TK minus L over E, okay? Is that okay? I told you not to write it down. There's a reason. Is that okay? I mean, K's all by itself. Do you think that's an okay answer?
No.
No. Why? Here's why. Here's one of the things I remember from English, and I didn't like English in high school, but I do remember this. Okay, very little I remember. But when you're defining a word, what's the one rule about defining a word?
You can't equal it, so.
What do you mean?
Like if you're asking someone.
If I'm going to define the word paper, what's the one word I can't use in the definition?
Paper.
I can't use paper in it. Okay.
So
If I want to know what K is, what can't be in my answer?
K.
And it says K equals, what's wrong?
There's K.
There's a K over there. That's no good. You can't do that, okay? So, here's what we're going to do, okay? How the heck are we going to do this? We've never done this in Algebra 2 before, okay? Or this class. Here's what I'm going to do. K, I said, right? Yeah, K. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get any term that has a K on one side and put everything that doesn't have a K on the other side, okay? So I'm going to put all the K's on this side, okay? So I'm going to keep this EK. Am I going to keep that L or not?
No.
Why?
If we're gonna get the K down like that.
Yeah, so why don't I want the L over there?
Because it's not part of the K.
Doesn't have a K. So let's minus L to each side. Okay. Do I want this D on this side, or do I want to move it over to the other side? Keep it. Why?
Because you were trying to get K on the
Yeah.
left side.
And D has
No.
no K's. Has no K's. Do I like this minus TK over here?
No, we're gonna add.
We're going to add TK because it has a K. So if we do that, what's on the left-hand side? EK plus TK. What's on the right-hand side? D minus L. All right. So now what are we going to do? It's never a bad idea.
Factor.
How can I factor this?
You can factor
Pull
K
K
out.
out.
Take a K out. K times what is EK? E plus K times what is TK? It's D minus L. We got one last step. How do I get K by itself now? What do parentheses mean? Times. So what do we do?
Divide.
Divide by what?
E.
Not ET. I'm being picky here. Not ET.
E plus T.
E plus T. Because what's ET mean?
E times C.
E times T.
Going home.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. That's why I said it. Okay? E plus T. E plus T. So what's K equal to? D minus L
E.
over E plus T. Not ET. E plus T.
That's where equals going home.
And that's okay because K is not being used to describe what K is. K equals, there's no K's over there, D minus L over E plus T. I mean, really, this is we never did this in Algebra 2, but we did. I mean, not one specifically like this, but all the rules that we learned in Algebra 2 still apply here. 51. So we have M equals Q plus 1 over Q. True or false? I can just cross off those Q's. One's on top, one's on bottom.
Yes.
Why? Why can't I cross them off?
Because there's an addition.
It's separated by plus. Now, what if it said this? Q times 1. Then I could cross them off. I could do that. I can't cross them off, though, okay? Any idea how we could? You guys like fractions? I don't. I hate fractions. So let's clear our denominators, okay? times each side by what? Q. Times each side by Q. Times this side by Q, times this side by Q. If I do that, Q times M is QM. These Q's cancel. We can cancel these off because they're not separated by pluses or minuses. They're separated by multiplication. So what's on the right-hand side? Q plus 1. These Q's cancel. Think back to the last problem. What's our next step and why? Not minus 1. What?
Q.
Why would you minus Q?
Because you want to get Q's on the same.
Get all the Q's on one side. You're going to move the 1 also?
No.
No, because there's no Q. So minus Q to each side. So we have QM minus Q equals 1. Then what? Factor what? Take a Q out. Q times what? M minus Q times what? Last step? Divide by what? So Q equals 1 over M minus 1.
Keep writing 8 instead of Q.
Oh. Okay, 53. 53, okay. A equals P plus PRT. Okay, this is an actual formula for compound interest, or simple interest it is. In case you're curious what it is, it's actual, it's not just a made up formula, it is a formula. They want to solve this for what? For R. Solve this for R. I use capitals, it doesn't matter. I need to solve for R. This one I think you'll be able to do in your head. If you want to get R by itself, what's the first thing we're going to do? Subtract what? P. And what's the last thing you're going to do? If you want to get R by itself, how are you going to get rid of the PT? Well, we'll do this. Subtract P. Subtract P. So we have A minus P equals PRT. And what do I have to get rid of to get R by itself now? P and T. How do I get rid of the P and T? Divide by what?
P and T.
How do I, well, okay, so can you put that, I'm being real picky here.
Well, because of multiplication, if it was with R PT, it's still the same thing as P. R
Right,
T.
and you're throwing in a word I don't like. You said divide by P and T.
Well, PT.
Just PT, let's just say divide by PT. Divide by PT. I mean, that's, I don't know, tomato, tomato, I guess. Okay, so the P's cancel and the T's cancel, so R equals A minus P, or PT. Okay, so the surface area of a rectangular box, S equals 2. Oops, that's 50. Hang on, let's do 55. Okay, so 55, S equals P over Q plus P times 1 minus Q. I'm going to solve that for Q. Okay, so any idea? I'm going to move this up here. We're going to run out of room here real fast. Any idea how we can start this thing off? I'm going to solve it for, what did I say, Q? Okay, so for Q, so any idea what we can do to start this thing off?
Nope.
First step's easy, actually. I mean, really. What do we normally do if we have something sitting next to parentheses? Distribute. So I have S equals P over, distribute what? Q plus P?
No.
Distribute what?
P.
P. So Q plus P times 1 minus P times Q. Okay. You guys like fractions? Me neither. So let's clear our denominators by timesing everything by what? It's kind of a mouthful. What are we going to times everything by?
Q plus P minus Q.
The denominator, Q plus P minus Q. Oh, wait a minute. Did I make a mistake?
Yeah, isn't that PQ?
Q plus P. Oh, yes. It'd be nice, actually. I tell you what, I messed up. Because if you look at that, we'd be done almost. What is Q? I made a mistake. If I didn't make a mistake, though, simplify this. So you have, what's P over P?
1.
1. The answer to yes is 1, but I screwed up. So it's what? Where are we?
So Q
P
plus
minus
P
PQ.
minus
PQ. Okay, so we're still gonna do what Luke said, but he said it wrong because I wrote it wrong. We're not gonna times by Q plus P minus Q, we're gonna times by Q plus P minus PQ. So let's multiply everything by Q plus P minus PQ, times this side by Q plus P minus PQ. Okay, so what's S times Q? SQ. What's S times P? SP. What's S times negative PQ? Negative SPQ. It doesn't matter the order. Equals, what's going to be on the right hand side?
P,
Where'd you get P from?
did you cancel your denominator?
Gone, P. We're solving for Q. So, what should be our next step?
Subtract the S.
How come?
Because
That's,
all the Q's on one side.
what's wrong with SQ, SP?
Look how Q.
You want to move this P? You want to move that or not? Why?
Put it over there,
Why?
because it doesn't have a Q in it.
So if we do that, we have SQ minus SPQ equals P minus SP. Okay. Now what?
You can take out an S.
We can.
Q.
You're right. You definitely can take an SQ out. You definitely could.
But we're drawing strong.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think you went a little far. I wouldn't take out an SQ.
Take out the Q.
Right. We only need to take the Q out because we're solving for Q.
Yeah.
So I'll just take out Q. Q times what? S minus SP. Okay. What's the last thing we have to do?
Divide
Divide by what?
S minus S.
So Q equals P minus SP over S minus SP. Can I cross off those SPs? One's on top, one's on bottom. No, separate by minus, okay? We could, and think back to the last section. We could factor what out of the top?
P.
What can I factor out of the bottom?
An S.
Is that gonna be helpful? Why do we factor stuff?
To eliminate.
And if I factor out a P on the top and an S on the bottom, what cancels?
Nothing.
No. Or does it? 1 minus S? No, nothing would cancel. Okay, nothing.